We will call this October 12th Brown County Commission meeting to order. We'll start off with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning.
Morning.
First item is to approve our agenda.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Kipling, second by Weiss to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have Dan Lederman, Summit Carbon Solutions briefing, and Dan is joining us via the internet. Dan, can you hear us?
I can you hear me?
We got you.
Morning, Dan.
Morning. Technology is great, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Some days.
Well, I have to commend your auditor for having this set up, because it saved me about 8 hours of driving and a hotel stay, so thank you, Kathy. Now, I've got a presentation I can run through, and I want to thank, first of all, everybody for letting me appear virtually. And if you don't know me, I'm Dan Lederman. I served in the legislature, and I used to be a county commissioner a long time ago, about almost 20 years ago in Union County, and I might have met you also through the county commission conventions, but right now I'm working with a group called Summit Carbon Solutions. It's a carbon capture pipeline project, and it proposes to build a 2,000-mile pipeline that would span 5 states, and the purpose would be to capture the carbon from 31 ethanol plants, carry that carbon through a pipe to North Dakota, where it would be the terminus would be 5,000 feet below the ground in a geological formation. I have a PowerPoint here I can scroll through if you'll allow me to share the screen, Kathy. I think there's a setting. If you would it says to make me the presenter.
All right. You should be the presenter now, Dan.
Okay. I don't know if it's launch to control your computer.
Good morning.
I have to grant permission. There we go. Says I have to restart, so I'll be right back. All right. Can you do it one more time, Kathy? I had to go into my settings and allow the GoToMeeting to
Oh, yeah.
access. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Oh, he's on there twice, I see. Thank you. All right, you should be presenter now, Dan.
Okay. Okay. Can y'all, let's see, open system preferences. It's asking me to do this again.
Technology is great.
He lied.
Works for when it isn't.
Is Dennis there?
Yes, hi Dan, how are you?
You're probably having a good laugh at watching me struggle with technology, aren't you?
Well, actually not, because I'm a whole lot less techie even than you are, by far.
Okay, I just allowed GoToMeeting to control my computer, so I'm gonna quit and reopen. Hold on a second, guys.
What stuff is gonna be in 30 ethanol plants, 2,000 miles worth of pipe, and the pipes that are only less than an inch in diameter for carbon.
All right, Kathy, I think I've given GoToMeeting enough permissions on my computer now for it to work.
Sounds good.
I'm sorry to make you do it a third time.
Let's see. Oh, I see it, you're on here 3 times, okay. We'll try this one. And it says you're the new presenter on our side.
Yep, it's working now.
All right.
All right, everybody see my messy screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Here, let me hide half the crap here. All right, can everybody see that now?
Yep.
Okay. So Summit Carbon Solutions, just if you guys have a question or want me to slow down or have anything at all, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
All right. So what we have is Summit Carbon Solutions. Share. Yeah. And the overview here shows it's a company that's headquartered out of Ames, Iowa. And once completed, the project would be the largest carbon capture in the world. It spans 5 states, as you can see on the map to the right. It's got Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. A total of 31 facilities, 7 of which are in South Dakota. You can kind of see from the map a little bit of which of the ethanol plants are that are being utilized in South Dakota. The total pipeline is 2,000 miles because of all the feeder pipes. So we're talking about not just the main trunk, but all the pipes that's going to come from the ethanol plants to meet up to the main trunk. Once it's all gathered, and this is carbon dioxide that's liquefied, so it's a different type of matter. It's a combination of liquid and gas. I think they call it super matter. But that super matter, that liquid carbon dioxide, would travel through the pipe, the main trunk being 24-inch, the smaller pipes being 4-inch, as low as 4-inch, to the main trunk, go to North Dakota, and then it would be stored in a deep underground geological formation. Just a little bit about Summit Agriculture Group. It's been around since 1990. It's ran by Bruce Rastetter. It's in a lot of different types of agriculture, pork production, lots of row crops. They started getting into biofuels in 2003, and then they've expanded into beef processing. And then in 2014, they opened up a Brazilian biofuels group that now produces ethanol in Brazil. And then most recently in 2020, they formed Summit Carbon Solutions. So the agricultural group, Summit Ag Group, just known as Summit, has a private equity firm, a Brazilian private equity, farm ground in Brazil, U.S., livestock facilities. The numbers here show the number of row crops, cattle, and hogs that they're finishing annually, and talks a little bit about the statistics of the company that's behind this project. So the people that are involved, these are the executives. I'll tell you right now, I'm not familiar with all of these folks, but I will tell you, Jake Ketzner down here on the left, he was the chief of staff for Governor Kim Reynolds. He was the one who kicked off Terry Branstad's campaign. He's been a political person in Iowa for many years, and that's who I know is Jake. And then down below here, Terry Branstad, longest serving governor in the United States. He is the senior policy advisor along with Martha Wersch. She's worked under George W. Bush and Barack Obama, and has had a pretty long, extensive history in the energy sector. Other people that we're working with directly, these folks here have already traveled to South Dakota and have met with the PUC. Branstad and Bruce Rastetter have been to our capital. Bruce Rastetter is the founder and CEO of Summit Ag. And then we have Justin Kirchhoff, he's with the investment group. And then Probst John is our managing director. So these three guys are kind of the lead on what we're doing right now for the permitting. Carbon capture may seem like a new idea, but it's not. It's been around for a very long time. It's been deployed at over 40 ethanol facilities. And if you look at this map, you can see where the CO2 pipelines run. We have over 5,000 miles of carbon pipelines already in the United States. And you can see kind of where it touches right now. It's already in North Dakota. It's already in the Midwest, upper Midwest, Texas. So with all the time and pipe that's been laid for carbon capture, there have been 0 deaths, fatalities recorded in the last 20 years. It's not as volatile as oil. It's not flammable. It's much less of a health and environmental hazard than any other the other pipelines. It's not combustible. The real threat that CO2 does have is that if it leaks, it displaces oxygen. So the main thing is if there is a leak, and through the technology that they have, they're able to shut down the pipeline remotely. But the main thing is to monitor for the pressures and the amount of CO2 in the pipe, because if it does leak, it will displace the oxygen around that leak. So what we're looking at here is trying to get ethanol to net zero carbon emissions. A lot of the holdup with ethanol, a lot of the criticism of ethanol is that it is very carbon intense and that it produces a lot of carbon emissions. By taking the emissions from the plant and taking it to a storage facility, it would significantly reduce those emissions, and it would help with the long-term benefits of ethanol. Ethanol would definitely benefit because not only is it becoming a zero-emission fuel, but it's also giving the farmers and the ethanol plants another revenue source and ability to make ethanol more profitable. So if we look at the intensity of carbon in ethanol back in 1990 when we started ethanol, in the beginning, this would be a 99% ethanol carbon intensity. Through technologies, it was reduced to 58, 54%. This right here, carbon capture, would reduce another 25%, which would take it down to a 29% level. And then what we hope in the upcoming future is that we can find those efficiencies to bring it down 29 by using other renewable fuel sources with the production and transportation of ethanol to get to net zero, or even carbon negative, where we're actually taking more carbon out of the atmosphere than ethanol produces. So this is a little bit of a heady infographic here, but if we are able to complete the project, if you look at this chart over here, our largest, it shows the largest current, hold on one second. Here we go. Sorry, my phone started ringing and it took my presentation. Hold on one second. I think it's over here. One second here. Here we go. So if you look at the numbers that we have, Summit Carbon Solutions would be at 12 million tons a year, which would make it the largest carbon capture facility in the world. Second to Texas Century plant of 8.4. And if you look down below, it shows the equation of 12 million tons would be like taking 2.6 million cars off the road, or the power needed for 1.4 million homes, or the burning of 1.4 billion gallons of gasoline and 15 million acres of forest per year. So it's a pretty substantial amount of carbon that would be removed from the atmosphere. This is carbon dioxide that would normally be emitted through from the plant. On top of the carbon footprint being reduced, we're looking at having a major economic impact for the areas with up to 17,000 construction jobs for building the $4.5 billion project. The lasting jobs would be between 350 and 500 jobs. That would be full-time jobs remaining after the construction. If you add those together, the total would be anywhere from 14,500 to 17,854 for total. When you look at what it does for South Dakota and what it does for the Midwest, it creates more jobs by assisting with ethanol and agriculture. It's a boost to household incomes. A lot of that ethanol we're talking about would have more uses, and we'd be able to produce more ethanol and boost grain markets. So the key takeaways is that when people ask you, a lot of your landowners are working with land agents right now. South Dakota leads the states in voluntary surveys, site surveys. So the land agents are going, meeting with landowners, surveying the property at this point. So some of your constituents, and maybe even some of the county commissioners right now, may be landowners that have been contacted by the land agents. But when you get calls from your constituents, some of the things that that you're able to tell them about the project is that it is $4.5 billion capital investment, 14,500 to 17,900 estimated jobs, 12 million tons of CO2 will be captured and stored every year. And then obviously it's going to significantly reduce ethanol carbon intensity. And then it's proven to be safe technology. And the pipeline would be built with the highest standards. It would be overseen by the Department of Transportation, and the storage facility in North Dakota would be overseen by the EPA. So that's the presentation. I'll pause it right now. And let's see here. I think I can go back to the main screen here. There we go. That was a lot of information in a short amount of time. One of the things that I sent to Kathy to distribute is a handout. It's titled South Dakota Briefing, and if Kathy has that and is able to hand that out to you guys, it does sum up pretty much everything we just talked about in a one-pager. There's also a diagram that I sent that has the pipeline construction process, so it would help you understand the process after the site surveying, if the permits are issued, how the land would be, the equipment would come in, dig the trench, put the pipes, lay the pipe, weld, test, and then remediate the ground over the top, do the backfill, the rough grade, the hydrostatic testing, and the final tie-in. A lot of times when you have a pipeline project that comes through, it might be the cleanest part of the field when they're done because they replace the topsoil, and then there's a full restoration of the ground that's been disturbed by the placement of the pipeline. Other than that, we will be having some public meetings with landowners. We're looking at dates right now at the end of October in Aberdeen. If any of you would like to attend one of those meetings, we'll be holding them all along the pipeline route. And like I said, I think it's October 26th or 27th. I think that's the date that we've finally gotten to. And I can send an invitation to Kathy to distribute among the county commissioners. But with that, I'll open for questions.
Rachel?
Hey Dan, Rachel Kipley here. Which ethanol plants is this going to touch in Brown County? I see 3 bullets there of the 7 in South Dakota. Is that Poet, Glacial Lakes?
No, it's Glacial Lakes. There's 4 plants from Glacial Lakes has 4 plants. Ring Neck is one, Redfield, and I believe Dakota Ethanol are the 7 plants. 4 of them are Glacial Lakes.
And then do you choose ethanol, which plants it's going to based on their investment in the project, or is this opened up to all of them?
Yeah, they've negotiated with 31 total plants, and I don't know how they chose them. I know that there's talks with Poet. I just don't know if they're going to come on board, or if it's something that's in the works. I know that I get that question a lot if Poet is involved, and I know that they're talking to them, but that's all I know at this point. The current configuration with the 31 ethanol plants would put us up to 9 million tons of carbon in the pipe per year. So there's room to add another 3 million tons. We don't have anything but, right now it's all ethanol, but there may be a fertilizer plant added. They want to try to stay within the agricultural sector for companies that they're working with. There's over 300 individual investors, and then John Deere has come in with a $10 million investment, and they're one of the strategic partners that have teamed up with Summit Agricultural Group for the project. So at this point, Poet is not part of it, but the 7 are in South Dakota are Glacial Lakes has 4, Ring Neck, Redfield, and Dakota Ethanol.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Dan? Where's the storage facility in North Dakota?
I don't know the exact location. I know that it's in North Dakota. It's 5,000 feet below the ground. It's a large geological formation, and the EPA what I was told was the EPA has already authorized that storage facility to take in the carbon dioxide.
Yes.
What's happening to this carbon right now? I mean, these plants have been functioning for quite a few years, some of them. What's actually happening? I mean, is it just being dispersed into the air? What's going on?
Yes, this is carbon dioxide that is now being released into the atmosphere. It's not currently being stored at any of these facilities.
Dirk.
Dirk Rogers, I'm County Highway Superintendent. Is the temperature of that stuff, once it's in the pipeline, quite cold then to keep it liquid?
That's a really good question. I can get an answer and get back to you on that. Nobody's asked that before.
Gold star for Dirk.
I have another question too. I'm assuming the geological formation must be almost infinitesimally sized. I mean, it must have multiple years of capacity there and growth and all that.
Yes, that's a good question too. It's able to hold over 400 million tons. So we're talking about being able to run this pipeline for many, many years.
Since I'm on a roll, are there extreme pressures involved in the content of the pipeline? You know, most things are pretty high, but this isn't near as volatile. I was just curious.
No, that's a very good question. I believe it's 1,200 PSI, but I will ask that too and get back to Kathy with that answer, with the exact amount. I believe the pressure, I don't know if it changes from when it goes from a feeder pipe to the main trunk. I know that from the feeder pipes can be as small as 4 inches with about a 1/4 inch of steel width. It's carbon steel. The diameter of the pipe's 4 with a thickness of about 0.28 inches for the thickness of the pipe. But when it gets up to the 24-inch pipe, it's almost an inch thick of carbon steel for the 24-inch pipe. But I can ask what the pressure is.
The pressure question comes more from, do you have to have, you know, like on a gas pipeline or something where they have to have a compression station to add pressure into the system? That obviously changes the footprint of what we would see in the county. That's where the question comes from.
Yeah, that's a really good question because I've asked how many pump stations they're planning on having. It's a really good economic question because as we've seen with Dakota Access Pipeline, when there's a pump station in your county, or in your school district, it definitely changes the economic value of having the pipelines coming through. So the pump stations are a big asset for counties and school districts. I believe this pipeline will be centrally assessed. I have not gotten confirmation of that yet, but I believe it would be considered public utility since the PUC will be issuing the permits. But no, as far as there will be safety check valves throughout the pipeline. Kind of the same with Dakota Access, that they have these remote valves that can shut off. And then as far as the pump stations are concerned, I don't know where they'll place them. A lot of that just comes down to the elevation and the distance between the checkpoints. So at this point, we don't have an answer to that, but I know that they are coming out with maps. As we get more site surveys, and like I said, we've got a really high rate of voluntary site surveys going on in South Dakota. So with South Dakota, we may have our maps sooner than, let's say, Iowa, who, if they have more folks, not allowing site surveys being done, that would slow the project down in other states. But in South Dakota, it's been moving along pretty well, and we should have maps. I'm guessing within I'm hoping by the end of the month we'll have we'll have something that's closer to where it's all gonna be. I've been told by some landowners, that it actually runs the same easement as Dakota Access Pipeline, which I would believe, it makes sense, because if they're going to North Dakota through South Dakota, all the easements have already been done for Dakota Access Pipeline. So there may be a lot of that same route where it will be going along the same path as the Dakota Access Pipeline. I spoke with one individual in McPherson County, and he was also one of the landowners for Dakota Access Pipeline, and he said that it was going to actually lay within a few feet of the Dakota Access Pipeline route. So I believe that the pump stations will probably be spread out. I don't know how many will be in South Dakota, and or where they'll be placed yet, but that'll be a big question as we get closer to the Public Utility Commission's meetings, which would be probably towards the end of next year. I forgot to mention the timeline. Right now, this is all preliminary, where we're meeting with landowners and local government officials, and then the permit process would officially start in '22, and we would hope that after a year of working through the Public Utilities Commission, that we would be able to start construction in '23, which would then put the pipeline in production in 2024.
Any other questions for Dan? Dan, appreciate the information. The questions that Dirk had, you'll get them back to Kathy, if you would, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
With that, I guess we can disconnect.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and it was good, even though it was virtual, it was good being back and seeing or hearing from Dennis and Dwayne and all you guys up there, and Rachel, thank you, and Mr. Chair, thank you so much, and Kathy, I'll get you that information as soon as possible.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Next item, we have a proclamation of Free Speech Week.
I'm going to defer that to Commissioner Weiss.
No.
I guess, I'm not sure, he had just forwarded me the proclamation to distribute to you guys.
I didn't see it.
It was a request that came through me that was intended for Doug because of our email issues, so beyond that, the proclamation was requested by Northern State University in conjunction with the city in Northern, simply to reinforce free speech is my understanding, but
Is there a copy of it anywhere?
It's in the packet.
it's in the packet, sorry.
Probably should read it before we vote on it.
I only got involved
Don't wanna be
because
Congress.
I was passing it through, so it'd be pretty non-controversial.
Did everybody else read it already?
Yeah, October 18th through the 24th is Free Speech Week, and what this is recognizing that it has encouraging all students, faculty, staff, and citizens of the city of Aberdeen and Brown County, South Dakota, to participate in the celebration of this fundamental freedom. And it looks like they've got President Neil Schnorr from Northern State, President Zach Flockus from NSU Foundation, Provost and Vice President for Northern State University, President Jacob Swanson from Northern Student Government Association. They have Mayor Travis Schoeneman, and then they also list Chairman Doug Feldheim from Brown County Commission.
I move it.
Second.
Got a motion by Kipley, a second by Sutton to declare, what week was it, Kathy, October?
October 18th through the 24th is Free Speech Week.
Okay. We have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item, we have packaged liquor off sale annual renewal fee.
When we brought forth the resolution to allow the new package off-sale liquor permits, you guys had asked about changing the renewal fee on it. So it's that time of the year to get that decided. Right now, we have it set at 300. State law allows it to go up to 500. We haven't adjusted that fee in a very long time. We have 7 package off-sale licenses now in the county. It doesn't have to be changed, just for discussion, if you guys wanted to with that, so.
Can we do 500 and then renewal each year? Is it renewed each year, right?
Yep, it's renewed each year, and right now, it's renewed at 300 every year. You guys had discussed before, if you wanted to increase it, you can go up to 500. And it's time for our annual renewal, so that's why it's on the agenda today.
Is there a competition for those, or is it just kind of, are there people waiting to get one?
No. They do have a restriction where you have to be more than 3 miles away from any municipality to hold one. So I guess everybody who
Pretty
fits that
standard.
criteria is the ones who hold them.
Stick with it. Go up.
Fine, I thought of the new ones would come out, because there'll be new applications for the ones that were permitted. And that's where I thought if they would pay the 500 the first time, and we'd stay with the 300 renewal after they get their first license, is where I was going with it. And that's fine, if we want to just stay with 300. How many do we have of those?
Seven.
We have
7.
There's 7, and there's been no applications for them?
They're all sold.
Okay.
Yep.
You don't need a motion if we're keeping it the same.
Nope, it was just, you guys had discussed it before, so I brought it back. Yeah, we don't want any action, that works perfect for me, keeps it easy.
Okay. I take it we'll have no action? It'll stay the same, Kathy. Next item, we have Dirk Rogers, right away for Northern Electric, discuss unpaid culvert bill for department updates.
Late as usual.
It was kind of an interesting thing that put me late this time, though. It would be nice if that did follow the Dakota Access. I don't know how that'll do tax-wise, but that didn't come through the county, it just missed us down in the corner there.
Yep.
And according to that map, it's probably Mina and Glacial Lake southwest side of town, so
Yep.
maybe we won't have the main part of it through here. All right, this first right away, I've been kicking it around for a couple weeks. It's for K&H Electric to bore under the state line up there, and I think we came to a reasonable comfort level with them, so I would recommend it for approval. It's to run some pumps and stuff for irrigation and drain tile.
Move it. Second.
We got a motion by Weiss, a second by Sutton, to approve the right-of-way for Northern Electric.
You can actually have that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I might need that.
The other one is, let's see, I gotta double check this. Brown County 16, between 143 and 144, just right down there, just going under from the James Valley. They got a tower down there, cell tower to run the electricity over the tower.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Piker, second by Sutton, to approve the right-of-way for Northern Electric also, right?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I need to clarify, that first one, Kathy, I'll give you the thing, that's not Northern Electric, it's Dakota Valley Electric, which is the co-op in North Dakota.
Oh,
Okay.
is that the same as K&H?
Well, K&H is
Yeah,
actually,
that's
that's who applied
Oh,
it, that's
okay.
fine, it can be for K&H. True North Steel called me and asked me about that culvert, I haven't paid it yet, but it's in our name, the one up for Praise. You want me to pay that, or what?
I thought we were gonna have the bill switched to his name.
You can't switch it that way. I don't wanna go into executive session for a legal matter, but True North Steel is gonna be evaluating some of those relationships. And, for instance, in some counties, I don't know how that works when you have an unorganized township, but technically, where we have well-organized townships, you gotta involve the township to do what we did. So, if we do that again, we should pass it through the township, and then it would work fine.
Pay the bill and make sure we get collected
Where is the culvert right now?
Probably installed.
in the ground.
Okay.
That's what I would say, pay the bill and send him
a bill.
Okay.
Yep.
A side note on the culvert thing, they took a price increase, you know, and they're not honoring annual bids, and we're not gonna get an annual bid next year. So I'm partially telling you that. I will figure out the counties, we'll figure out something for us. But to keep in mind, in the past, and we've sort of moved away from it, kinda 'cause of accounting and keeping track of the ones that went to the townships over the last, say, 10 years, we've kinda moved away from that. And the other problem was, I didn't like holding $100,000 worth of stuff in inventory that you might use. So I'm trying to work through a couple different things, 'cause it may be something almost like what you have to do with fuel sometimes, where you call and get 3 quotes, because we're not gonna get a steel bid that's gonna be good for more than, say, 30 or 60 days. I'm pondering trying to get a handle on what would be a reasonable amount that we think we would need, and just bid it out as one project, one time, between a couple different companies, and then we would just load up. I'm kinda going back to where you're gonna have a little more in inventory that way, but, I'm not, you know, then we'll order specialty ones that are bigger or longer or stuff like that. So I'm not, the dust hasn't all cleared from that yet, for what they're gonna do with culverts for next year.
Well, things are just too unpredictable.
Yep.
They're volatile, and it can go up for 90 days, and then bottom will fall back out of things. You just don't know. Lumber's a perfect example of that, so.
Yep.
They're just trying to stay in business.
No, and I'm not really being critical. I don't like that they didn't honor the bid all year. In the past, when we've had that happen, fuel, they honored the bid all year. They lost money.
Yeah.
And cutting edges was the other one. Those are the last 2 that they just said, we can't give you annual bids anymore. So now the culverts have fallen into that. I'll see what other folks are doing, or if someone's coming up with some alternatives, but,
Deal with it.
yeah.
The poly culverts, do they, you know, I've heard that they're quite a bit cheaper now than the steel, the metal. Are they something that we can use on secondary roads and roads that aren't quite as well traveled, or what are your thoughts on that?
There are poly pipe that work. What a lot of people think is the black single-walled corrugated stuff that you can buy at Menards, though that's not what we want. They do make a plastic, it's gotta have 2 walls. You got an outside wall and an inside wall, and then that's okay. But they're not a huge economic thing. They last longer. As long as there's not a prairie fire, they last longer. But,
So you're saying the cost isn't that much different
No.
from plastic to the...
if you're getting, now, you gotta, I'm qualifying that there. It's the plastic, it has to be an SDR 30, you know, it's gotta be something that's rated for that.
Corrugated on the outside, lined on the inside.
Exactly, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Your outside wall is corrugation and your inside wall is smooth. And you can get them, I think they're decent value, and I think they're exceptional in alkali slough areas, which, you know, north of town, they got a lot of that. They'll last way longer.
Is it possible to extend them out with metal?
Yeah.
Tie onto them with metal on that part if there was a fire?
On a plastic?
Yeah.
No, not that I know of. I mean, yeah, you could, I can show you all kinds of stuff where
You
they
can try.
Yeah, you can hook stuff together, but no, it's not really made for that. We actually did a little R&D for those folks to try to help them with their, fans. You know, it's actually that pipe I'm talking about is actually made for like, city storm drain, is its ideal use.
Are they dropping the quality, or are there different thicknesses?
Gauge of the steel?
Yeah.
You can order it different ways, but we go with a 16 gauge, and
And
that's
that's-
usually,
And they're not gonna lower that?
No, I don't wanna compromise the quality, it's
Yeah.
just, we'll have to maybe put the board stretcher on some stuff, you know, but anyway, going forward, we can, if we end up with a thing like that culvert again, if you run it through the township, then it cleans us up. We're paving over in front of, at 14E, coming north of Joby today. We're trying to get a little bit in there, and then we're gonna go over to 16. We did catch a little hell the other day about paving during harvest. But I got my whole speech ready about load limits, and then the 4th of July, and planting, and then wheat harvest, and then bean harvest, and then corn harvest. I mean, if we start taking everything out, there's about 3 days at the end of July we can work, so.
You just gotta shut her down.
Yeah.
I talked to somebody last night, said they're done, so I guess.
Yeah. So, and, you know, I got some good pictures of guys moving combines around the paper up at Hecla and stuff like that. It's just one of those things. So we're doing that. We're gonna go to 16, and we've got a couple bridges going in. The one we went down and looked at, nothing too crazy. I did bring that document for my 5-year plan that I needed certified, and if you guys could do that now, that would be great, because I need to send it in.
We need a motion for the 5-year plan.
We already did.
You
a
already
motion.
did, I just didn't have the paperwork with me. And then Kathy, whenever we can get that, affidavit of publication from the paper, I'm gonna send everything except that in today.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit once we get the bills from it. so,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I got,
Any questions for Dirk?
Got snowplows on?
they're around.
Hey.
We know where they are.
That's it.
But we have 6 blades, that's kinda what I hang my hat on. Everybody can jump in the blades and go start moving it while we hook the plows up, but, that's not, because of the quick attach and different stuff, that's a couple hours, where that used to be a 2-day deal, you know, so. But, no, I think we're all right. We're gonna keep paving for a bit, and,
Nothing for the next 10 days.
okay,
A little drizzle tonight.
all right?
Thanks, Dirk.
Thanks, Dirk. Okay, they're awesome.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
Well, I was kinda correcting it, it's kinda more over this way. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Next item, we have the speed limit change to 35 mile an hour on County Road 15. Beginning at the intersection of County Road 15 and Roosevelt between the southwest quarter, section of 5, and the southwest quarter of section 5, Township 123 north, range 63 west of the 5th PM. I understand that's just basically the first half mile from
Roosevelt, going east.
Roosevelt going east.
Right, correct.
And that comes out approximately just on the east side of Fiedler's Place, is that correct?
Right in there,
Is
yep.
that right in there?
Yep.
Okay. I see we have people here that would love to respond. I did receive several phone calls. I did not receive any requesting it to stay the same. My 4 or 5 phone calls were all in favor of the 35 mile an hour, so I guess that's kind of where I'm at with it. I didn't have anybody going the other way, so I don't know how the other commission came out, but here's your chance.
I too have received emails and calls, and they have all been in support of lowering the speed limit primarily from a safety standpoint and the access coming out of the north end of that development. They'd like to have people going a little slower, just from a safety standpoint.
I'm here against it. And I don't live on your road, but I drive your road. I drove it last night because I hauled my garbage, I hauled my leaves. And so my deal is that I live on Brown County 14. So if anybody should be complaining about speed limits and trucks and safety, that would be me, because I'm right in front of the bean plant. I have young drivers, I have young kids. My deal with it is where you're looking at, so if you come off 8th Avenue and you go by the Ball Diamond, it's 40 to the railroad tracks, and then you got it 55 to the corner, and there's a stop sign there that nobody regulates and nobody follows, which is where then it comes into your 55 speed limit. You have 5 driveways there, which one house nobody lives in. You're looking at just your access road, and I'm like, really, when I drive that road at different times of the day, nights, weekends, your traffic is mainly when there's a ball game, when people are going to work, and when they're getting off of work. At 8 o'clock last night, I was the only one on the road. and I was just hauling garbage. So, I'm here to say, I understand you maybe want it lowered. I think 35 is a little excessive. Especially when you get Fairgrounds Road at 40. So I'm like, I'm just going, are you looking at what the rest of your stuff looks like there as you're trying to lower 1/2 of a mile? Then you got another half at 55, another half at 55, and then another half at 40. And I think the ball diamonds are scarier when my kids are playing ball there in the spring and they're parked on the road and you got kids running everywhere. And that's still 40. So that's where I'm just telling you guys, I know what all the deal is, but I'm looking at it as a parent too, who does drive these roads and does have their kids on these roads. We ride our bikes over there, we walk. Part of it you just have to be careful. It's part of living in the country.
Can I respond to that?
You may.
I just moved in from the country a year ago, and happen to live on 2309, which
State
is...
your name, please, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
State your name, please.
Oh, Kurt Holland.
Okay,
Curtis
Kurt.
Holland, yeah. And what I found in this year is at that particular intersection where Roosevelt goes east then with County Road 15, between 11 and midnight and say, lost my train of thought here, between 11 and midnight and then when they get off work, but especially 11 at midnight. People, it's 35 coming from the south, it's 35 miles an hour coming from the west, it's 35 miles an hour coming from the north, and then when they turn that corner, it's 55, and they just gun it. I mean, I've lost more sleep. I lived 38 years in the country, and I've already lost more sleep in a year, because they are really, I mean, I'm serious, they are gunning it there. Nobody slowly moves out of there. Several people gun it. It's on average 2-3 nights a week I'm woken up. And it's a safety issue also for that area because of the number of people that live along that half mile. Now, I think 35 is reasonable considering the 3 roads around it, out of the 4, are 35 miles an hour. Why should they be able to turn that corner and gun it? And a couple of those people who apparently work midnight somewhere can't afford a muffler. I don't know what the deal is, but it's very annoying. And I'm also concerned about the safety aspect of it. And I feel for you on the softball diamond. I go there all the time also, but, I didn't set that, and I'm...
Well, that's what I'm saying, if
Yeah.
we can have that at 40, and that's a
That's
county
it.
road, then why can't yours be 40?
Because everything else around is 35. It just makes sense to be 35 to me. So, anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
And I just feel it's an enforcement issue. If they're gunning it and they're loud, maybe our sheriff's department needs to be there, or our city cops need to be patrolling it a little bit. Thank you, I'm gonna leave.
I'd like to say something. Carolyn Mund, I live, also, kind of our house back to that County Road 15. And yes, she says there are 5 approaches. One house is empty, but it may not always be. So that means people constantly coming in and out of those approaches. We have teenage drivers, we have elderly drivers, we have many children that live along there, and we all know children, they dart off, they don't pay attention. Plus, I feel that our addition should deserve the same consideration. The whole perimeter of Aberdeen right now is enjoying of a reduced speed limit. For me, it doesn't make sense not to when you're thinking about safety. When is it ever wrong to err in the favor of safety for our citizens and for the people? That's a huge development now. It used to be agricultural. That's not the case anymore. That's very, family-oriented place to live now. So I just think it makes sense. And I'm sorry if, I don't know about the ball diamond, that's a different road, but I think we deserve the same consideration other developments are getting, and that area is just growing by leaps and bounds. So, if it doesn't happen today, it's going to happen. Thank you.
This is true. My name is Shirley Pelkofer, and I live right adjacent to County 15. And first of all, I want to say thank you for all that you do for Aberdeen and Brown County. It's wonderful. Kathy was my student back many years ago. So was Michelle. 2 in 1. Anyway, what I have seen is a safety issue. I saw a boy, probably 12 years old, walking his lab along that road. And people just barrel it 55 miles an hour. If that dog would have gotten away and that boy went after that dog, we would have had a major disaster. And I see that regularly. So you just don't understand. People barrel down there. It's not just cars and trucks, it's motorcycles. I mean, it's craziness, so I really think we should lower it. But I do respect what Michelle said, too.
And I'm James Mund, and Carolyn and I kind of started this whole thing. We started a couple years ago, and the commission turned it down. And at that time, Mr. Rogers actually put a vehicle count on that road and said he was surprised how much traffic was on that road going to and from the industrial park, because now you have Miller High School, Mike Miller High School, so people don't take 8th Avenue because they get all the traffic that's going to the schools, so they're diverting around our way. And it is like they said, the minute they cross Roosevelt, it's like a launching pad. I mean, by the time they hit a quarter mile, they're doing 60, or not 60, but they're doing 45, 50, and then beyond by 55. I myself have wondered many times why we're 55. You go towards the turbine plant, and it's 45. It slows down for the turbine plant, which is only one access point. And two, I've driven that road many times when the little kids are playing baseball and they're all parked on the shoulder, and you're virtually down to one and a half lanes to drive through there. The parking lots are immense. I don't know why the people are parking on the road, but as she said, I think it is an issue to be monitored. I mean, you could put all the speed limit signs you want on that road. Unless it's monitored, they're not going to pay much attention to it. I know I talked to one of the commissioners that said it was basically the same way with going past Conklin's on Roosevelt North, that they're already exceeding the speed limit by the time they hit the intersection, and by the time they get past Conklin's, they're already doing 55. So even if you agreed with us and reduced the speed limit, I think it would have to be monitored for a while until people get used to it. And I don't think a half-mile reduced speed limit is that big of an issue. If it's people that are going to the industrial park for work, I mean, you're half a mile at 35 versus 55 is what, leave your house 1 minute or 2 minutes sooner? I mean, I just don't follow it. Thank you.
Well, I got most of the same phone calls you guys did, and apparently I got one extra one from Ron Erickson, and the lady who's no longer with us had mentioned the discrepancy between the 40 and the 55 on 390th Avenue, and that was Ron's concern, and he understands it's not something we can consider today, but part of the conversation is that he thinks that 55 that starts at basically the railroad tracks where molded fiberglass used to be going north should be reduced as well. There's additional development that's going on up there that creates a lot of traffic. The one cul-de-sac, the second one that's being developed with a lot of commercial use going in and out of there, and he said that he's very concerned about the amount of traffic he's got just coming in and out of his business, people doing recycling and his own trucks coming and going and the rest of that stuff, that he's concerned about that inconsistency as well, and frankly so am I, but he understands it's not something we can take action on today, but it's something that's part of the conversation about that loop, if you will. The amount of traffic coming from, now that Banner's expanded and 3M and so forth, and you know, whether it's in a car or motorcycle and stuff, I've almost been hit on 8th Avenue, and I don't travel that very often, several times in the last 5 years already. People miss the stop sign, or they're just in too big a hurry coming across there and so forth. The question of the day is the proposal to change that one section to 35 miles an hour for the time being, and whether it's 35 or 40. I think there's enough development there, and, you know, at some point in time, the city of Aberdeen's gonna annex some or most of that, and we can make it their problem. But in the meantime, I'll move this proposal.
I'll second it.
We got a motion by Weiss and a second by Sutton to approve the recommendation to,
You can announce it, but then I wanted to speak.
okay. County Road 15, reducing the speed limit for the half mile down to 35 mile, and 55 down to 35 mile an hour. Discussion.
I also took a number of calls on both sides, and I think some of them that came today, we had some good discussions on as well, and I appreciate the opportunity to just have a civil conversation on where folks are. I did want to share, this is the map of the accident history on that road. You'll notice that since we started Stillman 8 years ago, there's been 0 accidents on that road. I'm not attributing that to anything, it's just informational. There have been 7 accidents at the stop sign there on Roosevelt, and I understand that is an issue, as indicated by a lot of folks here. I guess it's just important for me to be aware of, are we trying to fix something that's already a problem, or are we trying to address something that isn't yet a problem? And to me, the bigger issue is when you lower it to 35, you're tempting more people like your 12-year-old boy with the dog to go over there, because now it is slower and supposedly safer. The biggest problem still is there's no sidewalk. So the kid with the dog shouldn't even be on there. The bikers shouldn't be on there. I think we're creating an environment where people are going to be more tempted to go jogging. It's the same thing we saw on Dakota Street. We're lowering it to a city limit level, and I would support it if there was a sidewalk there. But now people are going to start using that road, and I think we're going to see the accidents go up, because we're doing this in the wrong order. We need the city to come over, take it over, build the sidewalk, and then lower it as a city street like it should be. And that is the reason that I'm going to be voting against it. And I know I'm probably a minority here by the sounds of it. And I do appreciate you guys coming, but I just want you to know that's where I'm at, because it's in the wrong order, and it is a big workaround for folks right now. And safety is also my concern, and I just don't think people should be on that half mile when there's no sidewalk. Thank you.
I would also like to add that, you know, we winter in Arizona. And Arizona is 45 miles an hour in most residential areas, all the major streets. And it's an adjustment to come from Aberdeen, where you're pulling out on the Roosevelt and it's 35, versus pulling out on Power and it's already 45. I mean, you look and you got 2 blocks and you pull out, and that person is right on you right now. It's the same way there. You pull out on that north entrance, I mean, the car might be literally 2 blocks away from you, but if they're doing 55, they're caught up to you immediately, laying on their horn, and it's just, the whole perimeter of Aberdeen is 35 miles an hour. I mean, you can take Melgrave Road from 5th Street out to Riverside Memorial Cemetery. There's only one access point that I know of, and that's Jacobs Construction or whatever, and that's 35 miles an hour. I mean, you go north at 35, anywhere you want to go at 35.
And I doubt if there's sidewalks on the whole perimeter of Aberdeen.
Right.
So,
Anything else? We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming in.
again, thanks for all you do.
Thanks for participating, appreciate you coming.
Thank you much.
I'm really proud of Kathy.
She's a good one.
Yeah, good question.
Peter's head, I don't know.
Yeah.
You didn't even vote, she's proud of you.
Well, she knows.
Well, we got over your awesome, I think that might have been for Kathy too.
Yeah.
We're actually proud of Kathy too.
Yeah, it was for her.
Okay, we have Kathy's items.
Well, you won't be proud of me in a second here. We need a correction to the minutes, actually from September 28th. I talked to Scott Mines, and I used the bare bones bid for the, fat truck, and we probably want the four-wheel pods, so it works as four-wheel drive. So we're gonna want the 173,468 as the, awarded bid. So if we could have I'm asking for a correction to the minutes from September 28th.
I'll move that correction.
I'll second. What was the original bid on the other one? Do you have that number? Was it 168?
The original, I had 171 in the minutes, and we need 173.
Okay.
There was a second page that had additional options, and they
Okay.
wanted the 173, should have been awarded.
We had a motion from Sutton, a second from Weiss to amend the minutes for September 28th.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
No.
carries.
I think I had no on that one too.
Oh, so, okay, yeah.
Wasn't it?
I'll put you guys all notes today.
I don't even wanna change it.
Yeah, we'll keep you as no.
Consistent.
And now we can do October 5th minutes.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipling to approve the general meeting minutes of October 5th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipling to approve the claims and payroll. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
HR report.
Move.
Second. Moved by Kipling, second by Weiss to approve the HR report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Leases.
Move.
Second. Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss to approve the leases. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Emergency management quarterly grant report.
Move.
Second. Moved by Kipling, second by Weiss to approve the emergency management quarterly grant report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Quarterly interest report.
Move.
Second. Moved by Piker, second by Weiss to approve the quarterly interest report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Special event alcohol license.
Move.
Second. Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss to approve the special event alcohol license. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Sheriff's report.
Move.
Second. Motion by Sutton, second by Weiss to approve the sheriff's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Always interesting.
Yep. Anything else, Kathy?
That's everything that we had come through.
I believe Erica wanted an exec for personnel.
Erica, did you want something?
Quick question, do we have any indication when the folks are gonna begin doing the evaluation of our jail project that we authorized?
I haven't heard a timeline on that. It'd be a good question for Chief.
I'm gonna leave.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Thank you.
They're waiting on that, and I told when I leave, but that's what's good.
Ernest looked at it, he said it was fine. They're waiting on signatures.
Oh, something I already approved?
Let's get at it.
Just the contract on the, award of
Yeah.
the proposal.
Okay.
I would make a motion we go to exec for personnel.
Second.
Got a motion by Kipling, a second by Sutton,
Thanks,
going to
Carl.
exec for personnel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in exec. We are out of exec, no action as a result. Anything else come before the commission?
Trish from the museum, prior to the meeting, dropped off a copy of this press release. I'll pass it around. Last week, they received the second half of the endowment from the Carl Lee estate, totaling $1,775,000. That will go to the museum foundation.
Wow.
So we can put a new building up.
The museum can.
You can put the foundation in. You want a new building gone?
I had a phone call from a gal that lives just south of the Army National Guard depot, south of the airport fire station, and if you look directly to the west across Bellegarde Road, they're filling that whole entire area, hauling dirt in there, filling that, and pushing the water that would normally flood in there, pushing it into that drainage ditch. And anyway, I talked to Scott about it a little bit, and he, just advised that individual call the Corps of Engineers to find out whether or not it's a listed wetland, and to this point, I have not heard any more. So, but if you drive down by there and you look on the west side, you can definitely see that they're hauling dirt in there. It's over quite a ways towards the drainage ditch, but they're filling that area in there. So,
Who's selling it? No, you know if it's B and B or
Don't know if
Leans
it's
or
the
anybody.
city, don't know if it's,
It's the landowner.
Is that Lamont's land still?
yeah, I think so. Mhm.
Getting ready for more development.
Yeah. But they're concerned that it would back, you know, there would be a flood area there if there was a lot of water there, and it's gonna force it into that drainage ditch, or,
It reduces the capacity.
yeah, right, timing. Anyway,
Anything else?
Tonight's a special meeting for planning and zoning on marijuana, so stay tuned, I'll probably have some recommendations next week.
Okay. Redistricting at 1 o'clock at the Arc.
there's gonna be a smoke-filled room.
Yeah. Are you hitting redistricting?
Yeah, I'll try and get there.
Okay, Drew had asked if I'd come say a few words, I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say, and I have another appointment, so hopefully somebody will be there.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Fikert, second by Weiss to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned until next week.